want to do. Years of carousing, partying, beer drinking, belching and womanising. Well, drinking anyway. There was beer drinking and belching. Rather than most of the rest, we found other ways to spend a lot of our weekend evenings. Quick piece of audience participation. When I say the words role playing, who immediately thought of nurses' outfits and handcuffs? In those days there was an alternative form of role playing, which was when young boys and sometimes grown men, and let's face it, very rarely girls, would sit indoors, rolling dice, consulting huge rule books and pretending to fight off ogres, trolls and dragons. Which is much the same, I suppose, really, as going
Dragons and Dungeons.
night out in Elhampton, really. We did go out. There were times we went out. Many an evening was spent staggering around the streets of, well, walking in an orderly fashion around the streets of Worthing. Special nights were Brighton. One memorable occasion when we can trace back a long history of knee trouble for Nick, which I'm not going to go into full details of in this week, but it did involve a Volvo, a low wall, and some silly behaviour. All those, for some reason, they were great nights, those lads' nights, trawling around the streets of Brighton, finishing up in places that don't exist anymore, like the Hungry Years in Brighton, long defunct pubs like the Lennox in the Norfolk in Worthing, which are now blocks of flats. But we always seem to end up, at the end of the night, finishing up drinking vodka and lime, followed by snakebite and blackcurrant, and all the time eating bags of scampi fries. We remained single for quite some time.
Wonder why.
And then, I think it's fair to say, for a while, from Nick's late 20s through to his late 30s, we entered something of the quiet years. It's true to say we didn't see a lot of Nick. He seemed to be happy in his own company, staying in, building his hideously huge collection of CDs, DVDs, and books, which Joe is still struggling to get to grips with as we speak. The full horror of that collection can't really be explained, but I think it's safe to say that grown men really shouldn't have on the buses box sets. And there really is no place for the Rent-A-Ghost album. But we did get him out occasionally, and one memorable evening, one summer's evening, I remember myself and Nick and Richard down at the Lamb in Rustington, having a few drinks. Another bit of audience participation now. Who here has ever seen Nick using a mobile phone? Well, and out of those people, who's seen him sending a text?
How long have we got? 20 minutes for one message?
It's difficult. I can only liken the process to, if you can imagine for a moment, a gorilla trying to knit a small hat. It's much like Nick trying to send a text.
Okay.
He doesn't really do mobile phones. He owned a mobile phone for about 10 years, I think, before he turned it on. And it was about 5 years after that before we actually took it out of the house. But this particular evening, conversation was often punctuated by various buzzing and beeping noises coming from Nick's trousers, which would result in a smile on his face. He'd then take out the mobile phone, read whatever it said on it, and then embark on the long, painful, one-fingered process of replying to someone.
Which he learned from you.
Yeah, I've moved on to thumbs. We now know that, and he would send that text, and he would smile away some more, he'd probably only sent about 2 texts, but it felt like all night.
They both said okay.
God bless him. We now know, obviously, that the reason for his trousers buzzing that night was God bless him. He was smiling that night, and quite frankly, he's not stopped smiling ever since.
Aww.
I'm quite lucky in that I don't have many friends, which makes it cheaper at Christmas. It's bloody cheap, you don't buy any of them anything. But it makes it easier it makes you appreciate, I think, days and occasions like this all the more, because they don't come around so often. And I have to say, to see Nick as happy as he is wonderful. I'd like to thank you personally, Joe, for making my mate such a happy guy. And really, I don't have anything else to say. You'll be absolutely delighted to hear. Except if I can ask you just once more to raise your glasses in a toast to the happy couple, Nick and Joe.
Happy couple.